What's up, Internet Land? This is Derek Jones coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio, the Buckeye State, with another edition of Whoops, I almost slipped. I almost said Second Take. Okay, I gotta make a news break. Stop the presses. I've decided to change the name of the show. I decided that Second Take was lame. It was whack. That name was kind of played out. So I have a brand new name for my show. We're gonna call it DJDuzSports, and if that doesn't get you riled up, well then my predictions, my headlines, my new conference rankings will. So without further ado, let's get into this ship. I said ship, and let's get down to it. I had somebody comment and say, "Hey, I'm a Cornhusker fan. Why don't you talk about us?" And I will. I'm gonna give you a rundown of today's show. We're gonna do some headlines. We're going to do some conference rankings. We're going to do some predictions. Now, last week in my predictions, I went 6-2. The only two I missed up on were Clemson. I had them beating Florida State, and they should have beat Florida State. They were up 28-14. There was no excuse, Clemson. You broke my heart, but you know, it happens. And I had Oklahoma winning, and Oklahoma lost to Kansas State. Alright, let's get into this. Nebraska slammed Idaho State 73-7. Taylor Martinez had went 9 for 13 for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Rex Burkhead came back and said, "Don't forget about me." 8 carries, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Awesome game for him. Now, this poses a question for me. Is Nebraska now the best team in the Big Ten? And I think they are. Now, if you go by rankings, Ohio State is technically the highest ranked Big Ten team. So I guess you can make an excuse or make a case that they are. But from what I see, Nebraska is probably the best team in the Big, followed by probably Michigan State. And I don't know, it just clustered after that. We'll go Ohio State because they're undefeated. But I like the Cornhuskers. They have a pretty big matchup this week versus the Badgers. I can't wait to see what happens. Actually, I'm gonna pick that in my prediction. So stay tuned. You'll love it. Bama slaughtered FAU, Florida Atlantic, 40-7. I had that game picked, of course, as you did. Remember Corey Henry, the defensive end from FAU, said that Bama can be beat and that FAU had speed. Well, they might have had speed, but it didn't show up against Bama. A.J. McCarron went 15 for 25, 212 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Lacey, 15 carries, 106 yards, no touchdowns. And Alabama is just showing everybody why they are the best team in the nation. It's not even a contest from right now. LSU was number 2. They're number 3 now. Oregon actually moved up. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Forgive me. I digress. Let's get back into what we're talking about. The Buckeyes escaped the UAB Blazers 29-15. And as a Buckeye fan, I'm scared for the season. I don't know what's going to happen. But I think this team will go up. They have huge potential. But we'll see. Urban, if you're watching, you're giving me heart trouble right now. I'm sorry. Braxton Miller went 12 for 20 for 143 yards, 11 carries, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know, Braxton Miller is actually the second leading rusher in the FBS. Fun fact. Now you know. Now, remember last week, Ohio State squeaked by Cal, and then they dropped in the rankings. They went from 12 to 16. We squeaked by UAB, and we went from 16 to 14. So I don't know what's going on. But let's pose a question too. Where's this team go for here? Well, what are they gonna do? I think that Urban Meyer's gonna get the guys together. You know, they're in the infancy stages of their offense. It's a new offense, new head coach. You know, sophomore quarterback leading the team. They'll be all right. I really believe that we're gonna be okay in the end. Let's talk about LSU. LSU squeaks by Auburn 12-10. That was a close game. Can this team beat Bama? My answer is no. I don't think they should have beat Bama last year, but they did. But this year, no, they have no shot at beating Bama. And they actually may lose to a different another team too. They could go 10-2 in the regular season. Clemson falls to FSU, 37-49. And if you're watching last week's show, then you know I picked Clemson to expose FSU because I still don't think that FSU is that great. I don't think they're the number 4 team in the nation. They are good. They're better than what I thought they were, but they're not the number 4 team in the nation. But then, in a year where college football is down, they just may be. EJ Manuel put on his big boy shoulder pads and his big boy work boots and went to work last night. Let me read you this guy's stats, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. 27 for 35 for 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And that's not it. That's only half of it. 12 carries, 102 yards. This man put up 482 yards of offense by himself. Now, Heisman, can he get some love? I think he should. Taj Boyd went 20 for 36, 237 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Clemson was up 28-14 at one point in this game in the third quarter. And FSU, they came back. They scored 35 second-half points, which is not easy to do, especially against the number 10 team in the nation. But they're at home. It's ACC. They had some emotion going through them. Is FSU for real? That's the question. I want you guys to write me back, video message me, do whatever. Tell me if FSU is for real, because I want to know. I want to know. You know my opinion. I want to know yours. Oklahoma went out and got shocked at home, 24-19 by Kansas State. Kansas State is tough. I've been giving them a little bit of praise, not on this show, but outside of the show. They're tough. Colin Klein went 13 for 21, 149 yards, 17 carries, 79 yards, 1 TD. Larry Jones, the man who I share my last name with, went 28 for 43, 298 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And the thing about Oklahoma, there was so much put on them, and they're kind of disappointing me this year. They struggled with UTEP, if you remember, in the first game of the season, and then they come out here and they lose. Not good. Florida. You know what? At first, the first game of the season, Florida, I wasn't quite sold on them. They struggled with Bowling Green State University at home. I understand it was the opener, so I would give them some slack, but they put a beat down on UK, 38-0. And Florida, they're tough. Muschamp is trying to say, hey, you guys can forget about Urban Meyer. I'm Urban Meyer 2.0, and he just might be. But I don't think he's going to win 2 national championships in 5 years. Or I could be wrong. I don't know. USC bounces back with a win over Cal, 27-9. Matt Barkley went 22 for 34, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Matt Barkley is no longer, in my opinion, in the running for the Heisman Trophy. And I never really thought he was that great before. The thing about USC, they put out a lot of good college quarterbacks, and when they go to the league, they disappoint. I.e. Carson Palmer, i.e. Matt Leinart, i.e. Mark Sanchez. They were good in college, don't get me wrong. And I guess you can throw Matt Castle. I didn't really see him in college, but he still got drafted. I don't know anybody. You go to USC and become a quarterback, you get drafted apparently. But he'll be a high draft pick, first round, top 10 pick, and then he'll disappoint like they all do. Silas Red, 21 carries, 158 yards, 1 touchdown. Good game out of him. South Carolina, they're saying, hey, Missouri, welcome to the SEC. This is what it's like. They beat them 31-10. I really have nothing to say about that game. It didn't really move me either way. I just wanted to throw that out there. Now let's move to the conference rankings. A lot of people have been getting on me in the comments, and I love it. I love the communication. Keep it coming. So I revised it, and I'm going to give you my conference rankings for this week. SEC, no doubt, they're number 1. They have 16 from the top 25. Second, I have the Big 12. Yeah, they're that good. I was sleeping on them, and I apologize. Forgive me. They have 6 teams in the top 25. Next, I have the Pac-12. They have 4 teams in the top 25. They have some good teams. Oregon is probably, it could be the best team in the nation. I don't know how they just keep on just finding these quarterbacks who can play in the system. I mean, they used to it's crazy. I have the Big Ten fourth. They have 3 teams in the top 25: Ohio State, Nebraska, and Michigan State. Michigan just got knocked out of the top 25, and there's been some votes in the AP for Wisconsin to be up there, but not yet. The ACC is number 5. I'm sorry, guys. You guys only have two teams in the top 25, and they played each other last night. FSU and Clemson. And after that, you guys are a joke. That's my opinion. You agree with me, disagree with me, it's whatever. I don't care. And then the Big East is last. I'm not even going to talk about them. Now, here's where it gets really fun. Let's talk about predictions for next week. I have Baylor at West Virginia. I have West Virginia winning that game, 35-17. Ohio State at Michigan State. It's going to be a really good game. Both these two teams have been sloppy, to say the least. Michigan State struggled with Boise State, and I'm looking at Boise State. They look like crap, and I mean, they struggled with BYU. But anyways, Michigan State struggled with Boise State. They got beat by Notre Dame. They trounced Central Michigan, but yeah, me and my brother could form a team and trounce Central Michigan. But I have Ohio State winning that game on the road, 10-7. Texas, Oklahoma State, they have to go there, and I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. This Texas, like I said in my last college video, this Texas defense is probably one of the fastest defenses I've seen under Mac Brown since he's been in Texas. I have them winning 38-24. Tennessee has to go on the road to Georgia. I don't really think this is going to be a problem for Georgia. I still think they're overrated. They're not a top 5 team in my opinion. They're a top 15 team, maybe even a top 12 team, but they're not a top 5 team. They will be exposed at some part of the season like they always are, just like Florida State always is. But I have UGA winning this game, 21-3. Wisconsin at Nebraska. The Badgers at the Cornhuskers. I still think Taylor Martinez is a good quarterback. I don't think they're going to have a problem with Wisconsin. I think it's going to be a good game, a close game until the second half. I have Nebraska winning that 20-7. Also, let's talk about Taylor Martinez for a second. A lot has been made about his delivery of the ball. His first game, he looked really good against Southern Miss. Second game against UCLA, he didn't look so good. Idaho State, he looked really good with his footwork and everything. Which Taylor Martinez are we going to get throughout the season? If it's the second and the brand new Taylor Martinez, watch out for Nebraska. Ole Miss at Bama, I have Bama winning 35-10. And then for my upset pick, I have Stanford going to Washington. I have Washington winning 23-14. Now, this is a brand new segment in my show. We're going to give out awards. The award for the best team performance goes to Nebraska. They put a 73-7 beating on Idaho State. Idaho State is nobody. You can call them Walmart Tech for all I care, but that was still impressive. The best individual performance goes to E.J. Manuel. He had 482 total yards of offense by himself. The worst team performance goes to UK, Kentucky. And they went out there and got smoked 38-0 by the hands of the Florida Gators. And the worst individual performance, I call this the Chris Bosh will cry for you award. Because this guy played so bad, Chris Bosh will actually come out and cry for you. Denard Robinson, you looked like crap last night versus Notre Dame. Actually, I didn't even talk about that game. Notre Dame, that was an alright game. I had Notre Dame winning that game anyways. Denard Robinson went out there and stuck up the joint, stunk it up really bad. 13 for 29, 138 yards, zero touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Horrible. Well, that's my show. I hope you like it. I hope you subscribe. I hope you leave comments. Keep coming back, man. I love doing this, and Give me some comments and suggestions for next show, and I'll see you next week.